Okay, hello everybody. Hello, hello. Let's see if I can get everyone up on the screen. There you are. Fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that little trailer. It is the trailer to the DVD 21 Days, 21 Taras, when we took 50 dancers, musicians, and screen crew, filming crew, to India and Nepal to dance for the Tibetans. It was an amazing journey, and Anahata composed these two just fabulous 2.5 hours of video about our encounter with all of those amazing beings, including His Holiness. So I encourage you to go to our Vimeo site, and the trailer is there, and you can share it with anybody. And it's just a few dollars to watch the whole thing. It's impressive. It's wonderful to see all of these beautiful, beautiful beings that have traveled this wonderful dance of Tara throughout the world. Miri, is there a problem?
I want to remind you that we put a new program for the translation with Valentina in Spanish. She will start to translate for the girls from Chile, and also Zenia in Portuguese. So we ask for you to talk if possible, like when you drink a water, you remember that you can talk a little bit slowly. It's the first time that we are use it. So Zenia told us, we prepared with her, so now we are doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miri. Yes, another step into technology land. So it's wonderful. Oh, good, I can see Zenia talking away there. I'll try to remember. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. When in this pilgrimage, there were women from 11 different countries of origin. And when we spoke with His Holiness, he was talking about the diaspora of the Tibetans, how they were driven out of their country. But what we explained to him is we had a woman from Lebanon whose family had been driven out through war. We had a woman from Hungary who was part of the royal family. She was the princess, and her mother took her out of the country in a wheelbarrow to escape persecution. So the stories went on and on. It was each one of us, has a story. And the degree of overcoming, the degree of dedication was phenomenal. It was not an easy journey. Any of you who have ever traveled to India and Nepal can only imagine the difficulties of taking 50 people, most who have never been there, with us. This wonderful circle of Tara's dancing has given so many gifts to the world, and here we are still giving our gifts. I had asked His Holiness the Dalai Lama, why is it that audiences have such a profound reaction when we dance for them? Because most of us are not trained dancers. We're not really showing off anything. What is it that happens? Why do they have such powerful experiences? So he was answering that question in this video, because the energy of Tara is profound. And we don't have to believe, just as he said also in that particular interview, you don't really need to know what the wind is called to feel its effect. So we don't really have to know what Tara looks like or anything to feel her effect, because when we invoke her, that energy is present, it's available to us. this is something that it's taken me some years to understand, because I'm a very skeptical person. The whole idea of gods and goddesses, etc., it was always a little difficult for me, unless I allowed myself to move into the realm of the imagination and of art. And then it was easy. So it took me a while to understand these different dimensions of consciousness were part of each one of us, that we experience not only in what we call this waking realm, we experience the things that we see, all of the different objects and their relationship to us, but also we experience in the realm of dreams, in the realm of light, sound, and vibration, as I describe it, the realm of the imagination. And in fact, it also has an effect. It is energy. It is the realm of energy. And we've been told, not only by our teachers, our great teachers, but also by our wonderful scientists who have been studying the mind, that everything is reduced to energy, and that we can, in fact, change a tremendous amount of our personal experience by learning how to attract the right kind of energy and how to free ourselves from the inhibitions to this natural flow of energy that is our birthright. These practices that we engage in, these Tara dance practices, are all about that. How do we liberate our innate awakened energy, and that allows us to experience in all the realms of consciousness? How do we awaken that? How do we free ourselves from anything that holds us back? So His Holiness, again, reiterated something that I cannot repeat enough. The first thing we have to do is we have to understand what motivation is. And we have to get very clear about our motivation. And we have to remind ourselves continually what we are doing, because we so easily get distracted. We so easily get seduced by the world and what it seems to offer or what it seems to inhibit. We get lost in the realms of attachment and aversion. And because of that, then we lose sight of what our true motivation is. So with our practices, I want to thank all of you who have been dancing for a while today. I know it started over there in Brazil and Chile, because the time zone, it's 7 hours difference, yes? So for those brasileiros that have joined us, it's already the middle of the night, yeah, or getting close. It's a late afternoon. Yeah, it's wonderful that you started the practice so early, Miri. Thank you. And it's been going now for some hours. So we have developed quite an atmosphere of radiance surrounding this particular event. It's phenomenal that we are able to do this. I was so excited when I heard the advantages, the blessings, the reports from the event following my travel 11 days ago. Yes, I'm counting off the days. The Hawaiian government insists that I contact them every single day to tell them I am indeed in quarantine and I am not sick. So I know how many days I've counted off. I have 3 more days to go. But 11 days ago, you all, the Tara Sangha gathered together and had a continuous presence on Zoom of prayers and practices, dancing, meditating, and teachings. And I was thrilled. What a fulfillment of the treasure that I was given so many years ago and told that this was going to happen. How could I even imagine such a thing? How could I imagine this situation? 35 years ago, who could imagine that I'm looking at all of you from one side of the planet to the other, and together we're praying together, we're generating this incredible atmosphere and focus of energy. amazing. I would have never imagined. I mean, at that time when the dance first started in India, you couldn't place a telephone call across the city. It was, you know, it was a big deal to call somebody long distance. And now look at us. We so easily are able to communicate. It's amazing. It's wonderful. We've come so far. And watching that film, of course, we see so many of our beloveds who have come right along with us, who are still with us, still dancing, still praying, still sharing their precious experience of Tara.
Slowly, a little bit. I received the girls that you are talking a little fast for them.
I'll try to talk slower. Yes, it's tricky. Yes. So today, this session, what I would like to do is I would like to walk through the practice and share the essence of what I feel is necessary for us to understand as we dance. Now, as His Holiness said in this beautiful film, we don't need to know the name of Tara. We don't need to really know all of these details. The energy is there. It is there. Just simply say her name, chant her mantra, say her prayers. The energy is there. But we have the capacity to rev it up, to amplify, to enrich this presence. And that is what I am seeking to help us do by walking through the practice together. Every line of the prayers that we have assembled in our Tara Dhatu, every line has a deep reflective meaning. So it doesn't get old to say the same prayers, to hear the same teachings again and again, because it helps us to reorient our focus. If we are truly going to accomplish the great potential of our humanity, then we want to make the most of an opportunity such as this. First of all, we are coupling not only the strong intentions and concentration and energetic focus of this beautiful group of friends from across the globe, but we are uniting with a powerful cosmic energy, because today, on our planet, in relationship to the sun and the moon, is experiencing significant celestial time. It is new moon. During new moon, according to my Hindu teachers, it is the time when the mind is most receptive and has the greatest capacity to free itself, because the passions are not ignited. Then we have the eclipse. When this occurs, this disturbs the normal grasping that we have, our normal way of viewing ourselves in the world. And then to really make it more amazing, it is the solstice. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer solstice. For those in the Southern Hemisphere, it is the winter solstice. And this is the point at which the sun begins its transit. So for us in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun is starting to weaken. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's getting stronger. And our consciousness, our native energy, our physical, emotional, and mental energy is stimulated by this event. In the Northern Hemisphere, we prepare for winter. We prepare to go deeper and deeper within. In the Southern Hemisphere, you prepare to wake up, to go deeper, to go further and further in your expression. So all of these conditions are quite exceptional. And it's really good for us to pay attention to these conditions because they arise often, these opportunities for us to come together, to pray together, to affirm what is precious about this human possibility. So we start, as His Holiness tells us, to examine our motivation for practice and to adjust it. Because sometimes we look at our motivation and we think, okay, this is pretty superficial, actually. I'm here because I'm bored, or I'm here because I want people to see me, or there can be any number of less than exalted reasons for us to gather. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. This is a journey into the depths of who you are. Every part of you is welcome. But the affirmation, we are orienting, because we have so many capacities, so many possibilities of ways to be. This is fine, but we choose. So at this moment, we are choosing to understand what wisdom is and how is it that it is said to be within us. When we talk about wisdom in relation to this particular practice, we are talking about our inherent human potential. Like the oak tree exists within the acorn, awakened mind exists within each one of us. And if the elements are balanced and the essence is protected, then it will definitely blossom into awakened mind. So what are the elements? What are we looking for when we talk about wisdom? How can we cultivate this wisdom? The first is the recognition of interconnectedness. Recognizing that each and every breath we take, every word we speak, every effort we make, that it is affecting every other being. And that all of us, every part of this great, magnificent tapestry of life is constantly in motion. It does not rest. It arises and disappears rhythmically, 360 times a second, according to Shakyamuni Buddha. Arises and passes away. Every single atom of creation. These pieces, the impermanence and the interconnectedness, are the essence of the wisdom that we need to cultivate, that we want to touch in. Because if we find this understanding within ourselves, right now, perhaps it's just words. It's up to each one of us to ask with every single line of these prayers, is this true for me? Is this true? Do I really understand? Do I really believe that within me is the capacity to recognize interconnectedness and to live with impermanence? Is that true? We must ask this, because, and then be quiet and let the feedback of the inner mind reveal to us the truth, because it's there. It's there. How do I know? Because I've experienced it and I've watched it awaken in all the people who engage with me. When I say, you are extraordinary, you are exceptional, you have everything you need within you. Whenever I say that, immediately that aspect of yourself rises. It hears me. It affirms the truth of that. We have everything we need. So I'd like to ask you for a second, if you could just sort of adjust your posture so that your back is straight. Yeah, this is good. Because this allows the winds to move within the body in a receptive, open way. Because not only do we want to experience the truth of interconnectedness and impermanence, but we also want to acknowledge that our presence, that we exist within many dimensions of consciousness, and that our effort at this practice is to reveal not only the clarity of each moment, the energetics of each moment, but also the eternal mystery that is inherent within us. This is our birthright. This is the essence of the wisdom that is within us. When we affirm this, when we determine that this is why we are practicing, this is why we are here on this planet, is to manifest this, to awaken this, to be fully aware of this, we have a natural radiance. And this radiance is loving compassion. We certainly experience that with beings who have achieved this goal, who have cultivated a great degree of wisdom within themselves. We experience in their presence the radiance of their love. Just watching His Holiness laugh completely disarms us. It opens us. It relaxes us. We realize this being is radiant. He's radiant. And each one of us is radiant. That radiance is inseparable from the wisdom of interconnectedness and impermanence. Inseparable. And so, whichever one we stimulate, the other one is going to reveal its wonder. On my last Zoom talk, I don't remember which one it was. Anyway, someone mentioned that the scientists discovered that those who had the capacity for compassion, that meditation on compassion was one of the greatest anti-inflammatories this scientist had ever seen in his calculations. Not drugs, not diet, not exercise. Compassion. Being able to love, to really love, and to love without resistance. Right now in our world, we have the most extraordinary conditions that allow us, that stimulate our capacity for compassion. We see not only people getting sick and dying, but we also see the people serving them, loving them, caring for them. We also see in the streets protesting about the horrible events, about the prejudice that seems to be inherent, the discrimination that's inherent in our cultures. And people are protesting this. They're demanding that we look at this and do something about it. And they're doing this so we have compassion for this situation. We recognize what an event this is, that people are collectively coming together to try to protect those who seem to have no protection, and to give a statement about diversity and tolerance, how essential it is. This is an old story for our humanity. It's not new. I was just reading about, I guess it was 16th century England, and then the battle was between the Catholics and the Protestants. So when a Protestant king or queen came into power, they murdered the Catholics. When the Catholics came into power, they murdered the Protestants. And while we're at it, we might as well burn the witches. So over the centuries, humankind has suffered from this prejudice. And yet here in our country, at least in America, for some years, and I know in Brazil as well, in many of the countries, the democratic countries of the world, there has been a declaration that humanity, that all humans are worthy of living a life of comfort and safety. So even though we may have fallen down in this achievement as a community, as a country, nonetheless, there are a great number of people who are willing to communicate clearly their dedication to this promise. And it's absolutely essential for us. We don't want everybody to be the same. It's not possible for us to all be the same color or the same gender or the same from whatever community we come from, be it Italian or African. Or His Holiness, when he was asked, well, shouldn't we all now make one religion? And His Holiness said, why would you do that? Why? Diversity is wonderful. He said, we don't need one religion. What we need is religious tolerance. We need people to love each other, to care about each other, to celebrate each other's differences. This is what I believe is what we are doing when we say those two phrases, that we're here to manifest the wisdom that rests within, and that we're here to radiate our loving compassion into the world. And with that loving compassion, it goes out to everyone, not only the man who was murdered, but also to the murderer. We want to find what is the cause of this insanity in humanity, and how can we, as a collective, transform it into light? How can we transform it into love and respect? We ask with the power of our compassionate heart that we are capable of doing this. And so that brings us to the third part of our motivation prayer. How are we going to do this? What do we need? We need skill. We need a strategy. We need to be able to look at our life and determine, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? Where is the skill? And do I have the energy to do this? There's so many demands on me. There are so many demands that come from all the directions of life. How am I going to do this? So we ask to be shown, how are we going to gather the skill? What is the skill? And how are we going to gather the power? Because should we have skill and power, then it doesn't matter who or what comes our way. We look at it with the eyes of wisdom and compassion, and we skillfully try to help each individual to disarm the darkness that keeps them, that holds them back, to disarm the ignorance that holds them back, that inhibits them from being all they can be. We can touch every single person who comes our way, not only physically or Zoomingly, but also as we read, we look at pictures, we think of the situation of the refugees, we think of the situation of the countries at war, we think of the situation of the people who are impoverished, and we do whatever we can to send our loving light to them if there's no other capacity that we have to serve. So we start with that. We start by reflecting on these things. Whenever, no matter what happens, when the question comes up to you, what am I doing here on this strange planet with this strange behavior and these, what am I doing? You remember, I'm here to manifest wisdom. I'm here to radiate loving compassion. I'm here to gather the skill and the power so that I may bless and empower whoever I encounter and whatever my work is, that it is completely infused with wisdom and compassion. Having ascertained that, the inner being expands. When we say this prayer, there is an expansion. When we really get into an understanding, this is my birthright. This is why I'm here. This is the purpose of my humanity. Then the next question naturally arises, and this will happen throughout the practice. How do I do this? How do I do this? How I often feel myself to be inadequate and small in the face of all of these issues. How do I do this? So the next prayer and practice is the prayer and practice of refuge. It's to remind ourselves, we're not in this alone. This is one of the wonders of watching the peaceful protesters. They're saying to each other, you're not in this alone. We're together in this. We're together making a statement that every life has value, every life has dignity, and where it's especially being misused and abused, that we need to focus our attention there. We need to solve this issue. This is sources of refuge. But in our practices, we also have these teachings, these magnificent teachings of the way to put the whole picture together, the way to continually gather within ourselves the wisdom, the compassion, and the power that we need in order to be refuge for each other. But we have the great lineage of teachers. It's very wonderful for those of you who were able to watch this little video trailer that I showed at the beginning, to see the faces of these great beings and know the tremendous dedication that they have given their life to help others to penetrate into the brilliance of their own heart and to reveal the treasure. Each one of them completely dedicated, meeting us. We're such a ragtag group, meeting us right where we were with so much love, so much affection, and so much loving support. This is what Lineage of Teachings is about. So if you are fortunate enough to have encountered teachers, and it doesn't matter in what religion, or it doesn't even matter if it's not a religion, you know when somebody is the essence of wisdom and compassion. You know when they meet you where you are with your situation. It's not about some magical somewhere else. It's about, how is life appearing to you? How are you going to use every moment of this opportunity? How are you going to use it to expand your essential connection with inner wisdom, to expand your capacity for loving kindness and compassion? How are you going to do this? You want to encounter individuals and you want to develop your relationship with them so that when confusion arises about the moment, you can turn to them and ask for inspiration. They're not necessarily going to solve your issue, but they are going to try with all of their heart and all of what they know to inspire you so that you can find your way, because each one of us ultimately has to find our own way through all of the various sensory experiences and the way we view them and experience them. We each must find our way into the heart of things, but we can be inspired and we can be supported. So this is what's the essence of the relationship with sources of refuge. Now in our Tara practice, of course, she's the main source of refuge for us, because through the lineage of the dance and the transmission of the teachings, as I've received them and as I've shared them with you, that she makes herself exquisitely present. And each one who turns to that energy, that source of inspiration, will find themselves to be supported, no matter what the situation is. I always encourage my friends, my students, reach out to her and tell her what you need. Tell her where you see the point of confusion, where you see the point of your inner suffering, and ask for inspiration. Ask to be shown the way. Even if she doesn't speak with you, if she doesn't appear to you, nonetheless, that energy is going to take some shape and some form in your life. Someone will appear, or a piece of paper with a word on it that suddenly shifts the focus of your attention away from self-obsession. There's only one enemy here, really, and that's self-obsession. That's the sense that I am separated from the whole, and therefore all of my activity and all of my energy has to be to support this persona that I have inhabited. This is the basic ignorance, and this is the basic cause of our suffering. Our teachers, our guides, they want to help us to see through this. It's not a bad thing. It's simply the wrong road. It's the road that will not lead to bliss and happiness. And so why bother if we find ourselves on the wrong road? Let's find the right road. Let's find the road that's going to lead to happiness and joy and to the upliftment of humanity. We can certainly do that, and we have these sources of inspiration. We have our teachers. So just think for a moment of the lineage of teachers, the various teachers that have inspired you over the years, and feel that you're invoking them into your presence, that they're coming into your presence, they're pouring their life and their light and their love into you, and they're blessing you, and they're acknowledging how precious you are, how wonderful it is that you are turning to them and asking for guidance and inspiration. And the light that surrounds you is stimulating you so that you can see clearly whatever it is that holds you back. And finally, think about your beautiful community. Just as I think about all of you right now, beautiful community. We treasure each other. We support each other. We do our best to acknowledge each other. So for a moment, let's just do this prayer together with our hands at our heart. And let's imagine, just repeat after me. I invoke the presence of the lineage of teachers. I invoke the presence of the enlightened ones. I invoke the presence of their teachings. I invoke the presence of the community of practitioners. I am inspired by the lineage of teachers. I am inspired by the enlightened ones. I am inspired by their teachings. I am inspired by the community of practitioners. My path is supported by the lineage of teachers. My path is supported by the enlightened ones. My path is supported by their teachings. My path is supported by the community of practitioners. This is the foundation of our practice. This is the ground upon which our beautiful Tara Dhatu, our realm of the enlightened feminine, arises. This understanding of our capacity. This understanding of the wonder of our humanity and what's precious about our humanity. Finally, the prayer of Bodhicitta. In this prayer, we are asking to remember every thought, every word, every action affects every being on this planet. Every being on this planet. So when we engage in a practice, such as we did together, these practices, when we engage in them, we realize, imagine that it's not only you doing it, but you're inviting all the beings of this planet to engage with you, to affirm the inner wisdom, to affirm the radiance of their loving compassion, to affirm their capacity to be skillful and powerful, to bless others, to inspire others, to awaken others, and to know that they are not alone in this journey. None of us, we are not alone in this journey. There are great beings who have followed this path and who have manifested the fullness of wisdom and compassion and are in this body, in this life, doing everything they can to uplift humanity. We join with them. We join with them until we're completely free. We continually invoke our sources of refuge, dedicating ourselves fully to attaining enlightened mind, knowing it is the greatest gift that we can give the world. There's no greater gift. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or if you're a street sweeper. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher or you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing if you're doing it with good heart, if you're doing it with the intent to bless and uplift. And whatever holds you back, there are so many dark, hidden pieces in our psyche that hold us back from being able to live fully committed in this way. These practices will help us to see them. Don't run from them. Simply penetrate with awareness whatever arises, and then rededicate. You can feel anger. You can feel hatred. But when you look at it, you can say to yourself, this is useless. This is useless. If it drives me to harm others, let this sense help me. Let it stimulate my compassion. Let it help me to realize what it is that is causing me to feel this. Let me look deeper. What am I afraid of? What am I attached to? How can I reach the heart of wisdom through this experience? It's there for you. It's there for all of us. Yeah. Well, I didn't get very far.
Water.
My
Water.
water? You want me to drink water? Okay. Thank you, Miri. When we work together, I often ask my students again and again, look at these prayers, examine them, work with them, because they will continually reorient you. We tend to see things myopically. We're very narrow vision, and we need to broaden the vision. These prayers will help to broaden the vision. This is why I encourage everyone, become familiar with the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, because it will help us to devote ourselves, to commit ourselves, to be motivated, to engage, to be grateful for this unbelievable opportunity. It's so essential. And through that gratitude, recognize it's temporary. So whatever actions we do, whatever thoughts we have, let us work with them in the most powerful way. Let us work with them so that we can bless the people around us, and we can be a light to all those that are around us. We can be a light, and we can be a light to ourselves. So I have a few more minutes, and what I want to do is I want to look around and see everybody. Oh, how beautiful. Yeah. Yes. Hi. Yes. Hi, Albania. Oh, wow. So beautiful to see all of you. Amazing. Oh, hey, Lilieti. Nice. Noel. Hita. Fantastic. Okay, let's see. What do we have? Oh, Sujani. Oh, my dear beloved friends. It's so beautiful to see everyone. Ah, there's Parvati. Wonderful. I can't, my eyes are not so good, so I can't read everybody's name. Ah, there's Mumtaz, Mama Mumtaz. That's fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, here's somebody called Galaxy 5. His goodness. Oh dear. Okay, and a lot of you turned your I can't see you. Oh, there we go, Stella. Okay, and Jacqueline. Beautiful, fantastic. Oh yeah, thank you for turning your cameras on just for a moment. I do appreciate it. And there's Jazzy and wow. Okay, and goodness, wow, we have a lot of people. Fantastic. Well, I'm so grateful to all of you. So I will be back at 3 o'clock to close this beautiful session. And I'm going to pick up where I left off here, because I want to engage fully in the Tara practice. And then if there's time, we'll do a little bit of Vajrasattva as well. So I would like to ask everyone, let me get back to my, yes, here we go. Okay. So by the power of these practices, we think of the conditions on our planet right now. And we pray that there will be a relief from suffering, that everyone will find the essence of their humanity, will find that place of loving compassion, and work together to solve the illness, to solve the cases of discrimination, to solve all the issues of our planet that keep us separate and that encourage suffering. We ask that the power of these praises, the power of these practices, that our united intent is to uplift humanity. And so we feel the energy and light pouring from us and filling the world with love and light. Om. Om.